Sounds great.
But
But
yeah.
let's talk about Monday Night
Yes.
Raw, my man. Tonight was obviously the buildup of Uncle Howdy's return to the ring. That's what tonight was about.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, coming out of the show, my mind isn't on Uncle Howdy.
Chad Gable.
No, Bronson fucking Reed is who I'm thinking of.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know where you were going with that because
yeah, like it's not to say that like I didn't enjoy what Uncle Howdy did. I thought that was fantastic. But like for me, I can't start at Uncle Howdy.
No,
like I just can't.
Then
I have to start with Jake TV 72 leaping off the top of that whatever it was onto the card and just destroying him. That's one of my favorite spots of the year, as Jake TV literally rated me here on Twitch right now. We're talking about your amazing squash. Like, I don't understand how you pull it off. It is like one of the most incredible things I've ever seen, that you are able to be live and on Monday Night Raw at the same time. It's so impressive.
How has this kid not reached out to WWE and done some form of marketing with Bronson Reed yet? Because like there's money there for him. I don't understand how he's not done it yet, but
I think if he would wake up from time to time, he maybe would actually be able to send an email. I don't know.
But no, honestly, I was really looking forward to that match through and through. I think it is the perfect balance. It's Big Show Brock Lesnar back in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Bronson Reed is getting pushed to the moon right now. I'll tell you right now, if Bronson Reed comes out of this Fatal 4-Way for the IC title, I wouldn't be surprised. And if they... Yeah. We can get into Jey Uso in a minute, but if he comes out of this on top, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm right there with you, honestly. They've done such a great job building up Bronson Reed that it would make sense for him to go into the IC title. And also, that gives something for Seth Rollins to do when he comes back that feels kind of monumental. Imagine if Bronson Reed did beat Braun Breaker. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we look into the future, that's the type of guy that could feel like he could beat Braun. And I mean, Braun's already getting these great reactions with the dogs barking and everything. Like, they're turning him babyface slowly but surely. They're already in the process of turning that man babyface. And you could either go in one of two directions. You can get an absolute massive moment with Bronson Reed losing, I should say, to Braun Breaker and putting over Braun in a big way. Or you can get the shocking moment of actually pushing Bronson Reed up the card and beating a Braun Breaker. Like, it's a great idea having him win the IC tournament.
I don't think there's a lose situation in that area. I think it could be Jay, which I think it deserves to be Jay, personally.
Yes.
But
yes, personally as well.
If Bronson Reed comes out on top and then we have Braun Breaker versus Bronson Reed, talk about meat slapping again. Like, we got Schneider's meat slapping all over the place. And I'm happy with it. Like, at the end of the day, like, they've already basically said Braun Breaker is going to be the face of WWE going into Netflix. It's literally been said. But Bronson Reed as this big ominous entity. You know, this man is Jupiter.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Hey.
You know, just tsunamiing over the earth, which is Braun Breaker. I'm happy with it. I am so happy with it.
And like, what I love right now about WWE, if we look back to a year ago, we would say that the mid-card division was a bit of an afterthought with WWE. The main event scene seemed to be figured out, but the mid-card was kind of like, okay, whoever we want right now. It's not really like it wasn't until Gunther, I shouldn't say a year ago, it should maybe be 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But like, when Gunther took over as IC champion, that's when we started being like, okay, this is the belt that we are going to build the future around. We're going to put Gunther there. Then we're going to put Sami Zayn there. Then we're going to put Braun Breaker there. Like, this is the title that is saying these are main eventers of tomorrow.
Yep.
Like, even though Sami Zayn was kind of like, it happened later in his career, he's still young enough and he's still just kind of getting over as like a true main event talent, right? If you really get into it, like after that match with Roman Reigns. So they're putting the right people in this spot with the IC title tournament. And so Bronson Reed, if he won this thing, like that would be them absolutely saying this is a guy of the future for us.
It's like they did back in the 90s, and I don't want to go all the way back to when WWE was booked right by the right people back then, but you had Scott Hall, you had Razor Ramon, you had Shawn Michaels, you had Bret Hart, you had the British Bulldog, you had Brian Pillman, you had a lot of main eventers working in that IC title range, where the IC title meant something. Like, just remember, two of the greatest matches of all time were Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon in those ladder matches, WrestleMania and SummerSlam. And the IC title meant something. Like, I think the only time the IC title didn't mean something is when Ultimate Warrior decided just to hand it over when he won the WWE Championship. You know what I mean? But where I'm going with this is we're finally back to this. And this goes back to Triple H booking, saying this title is actually relevant. Finally. And Gunther did that. And Gunther holding the world title now shows what a true future world champion can do with the IC title. And
spot on. Well said. And it just has me having so much hope for WWE's future, the way that they're building this right now. Because, like, I know for a while, a lot of us wrestling fans, part of the reason we tuned out was because we didn't really like the direction of where WWE was going.
Agreed.
It was like a lot of people stopped watching throughout, I don't know, late 2010s, early 2020s, because it really felt like you had all this talent that would be maybe pushed for 30 days and then forgotten about. And then nobody would go anywhere. There'd be 50-50 booking. No one was making any gains in the middle of the card. And that has changed now. Monday Night Raw, I'll argue, their best part of their show comes in the middle of the card most of the time. A lot of the best stuff that they do happens around the 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock hour. And it's very, very entertaining right now what they're doing with the middle of the card, and has me having so much hope for the future of WWE.
I find my reactions, like you and I both post reaction content, I find my reactions are more animated and excited during that 9 to 10 hour. And if you look at your analytics, and I hate to jump off of, this being on stream and this being a recorded review, but if you look at your analytics, your 9 to 10 content is literally your most viewed.
Usually, usually around that time. So, it makes sense. A lot of people want to come in at that point, see what's going on the show. Is it worth sticking around to watch, right? Like, it all makes sense why it hits during that time frame. But, like, I used to say that the 9:30 to 10:30 slot was the dead hour of Monday Night Raw. For a long time, nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing happened in that time frame. It was when we were talking about 3 hours being too long for Monday Night Raw. Now we almost can't get enough in on 3 hours on Monday Night Raw. And we're talking about expanding SmackDown to 3 hours.
The last 3 weeks, they've almost gone over on Raw.
Yeah, like they are just fitting in what they can, and there's more they want to include, which is amazing. I think what they're doing on Monday Night Raw right now, they've got everything figured out. They know the direction of the characters. They are working on the people for the future today. Like they know in a year's time where they want to be with these titles. I'm almost guaranteeing that. Like, I think Triple H has his whole booking book out there, and he's got his whole roadmap from now until a year out, at least.
You and I heard this phrase once, both in a different situation. We heard this phrase once, that a day is a month is a year, and a year is like 10 years when it comes to WWE. I think in this situation, with how Monday Night Raw is being booked, a year is a day. It's already been booked. It's already been booked. We're good. And the one thing I want to say before we move on is, I don't care where this Fatal 4-Way goes, because honestly, first off, hold on. We're getting Ilya Dragunov, Dragon Lee, and Dominic Mysterio on free television. And we referenced this last week about how we're getting one PLE main event on free television, and this is literally WrestleMania worthy.
It was amazing. I was in the middle of my fantasy football draft, and so the first hour of Monday Night Raw today was incredibly difficult for me to follow exactly what happened. but I missed one of my picks because they were doing that spot where they all ran through the ropes and did a suicide dive or a tope con hilo or whatever.
Yeah.
I that is one of the craziest spots I've seen. This episode of Monday Night Raw had that match.
Yeah.
We had the 2 triple threats.
Yeah.
We had the Bronson Reed spot, and we had Uncle Howdy's debut plus more.
Yeah.
Like I don't know about you. We can get into our ratings here in a little bit, but for me, man, that's like almost not quite, but it's almost a perfect episode of Raw.
I'm giving it. Well, I'll tell you right now. My rating is a 9 out of 10. Like,
hey, we share the same one, and that's
9
exactly what the live chat has right here. 9 out of 10.
100% 9 out of 10. Okay, let's move on quickly. I want to move on to the emotional stuff quickly, just so we can talk about it. The passing of Sid Vicious. The only thing I want to talk about quickly on that is my first memory of a live event was Undertaker versus Psycho Sid Vicious at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. And I've told this story to you once before. Undertaker threw Sid Vicious out to the floor, and my uncle had me on his shoulders, and I ended up getting so scared of the Undertaker because he did the whole like this to me when I was like 5 or 6, and Sid Vicious was actually laying in front of me, and I almost choked out my uncle. Like at that age, I was so scared. But that is one of my first memories of a live event, and Sid Vicious is involved. So I just, for tonight, that I think WWE once again, and it feels like it's every 3 weeks we talk about another passing of another legend, and it's really getting, it's taking a bit of a toll on me because I want to enjoy the entire show, but you know, we're getting to that age where it's going to happen more and more. So absolutely, just want to say, like, rest in peace to an absolute fucking legend in Psycho Sid Vicious. He's definitely going to be missed because he was one of a kind. So that's
well said, man. Well said. That dude had aura before the kids started even calling it aura.
Exactly. Let's go into I want to go into Howdy Gable.
Yeah, okay, let's jump into that.
Did you think Alexa was returning tonight?
You know what? No, I didn't. I really didn't. I feel like this was all about Howdy's debut.
Yeah.
And it didn't need to be anything more. I think it was well done. Yeah. I think the match was good. And I think there's a lot left to be seen from Uncle Howdy.
Yes.
This felt like the introduction. It felt like we were watching Bray Wyatt, to be more honest than anything, in the way that he moved around the ring. It felt like more of a, this is my love song to Bray.
Yes.
Thank you, Bray, for everything. I am going to do your character justice.
Yep.
And this is my thank you to you. Even at the very end of the match with him pointing up to the sky, you could almost see the tears in his eyes.
You could almost see the tears in my eyes, dude. I got right emotional. I knew you were coming over and calling on the Discord, but I was like, okay, like, choke it back, dude, because that one, I got the lantern lit. It's been a year. So tonight was a very emotional night across the board. I think I'm the one thing I want to say, Gable is doing such a good job.
Yes.
Knowing he's not going over at all in this feud. And he's doing such a good job. Like, dead serious. Like, I think we need to give Gable his flowers here, because everyone is forgetting that there has to be someone that doesn't go over.
Yep.
And the Howdy thing, the emotional, the fireflies, the entrance. I don't know if you noticed, but they added the Howdy laugh into.
Oh, did they? I missed that.
If you go back and listen to the entire song on his entrance, you hear the Howdy laugh just slightly, and they've done a great job in just adding that to make it Bo's thing.
I love it.
In Shatter, it's not just Bray. They've brought Bo into it to give him his own thing, which is beautiful. My chat actually picked it out, and I was listening closely. So that was amazing. But we need to give American Made and Chad Gable their flowers, because they're not going over in this feud, and they're building a new faction here. So to build a new faction and not go over is super hard. So you've got to give them the flowers that they deserve for the work they're putting in. And it's Gable. Gable has been amazing in the last 6 months. So
absolutely. Yeah. Gable's been absolutely incredible. And one thing that I think is going to be the saving grace of American Made is that because Gable's been doing such good work lately, it doesn't really matter if they don't go over in this feud.
Yeah.
And because the Creed brothers are young, unproven, but very talented individuals, and Ivy Nile is just nothing but raw potential.
Yeah.
Like, I think this group can survive losing for the first little bit. And they're also a heel group. They're not a babyface group. So it works right now. Eventually they will have to push them. And I think that needs to be like the 6-month plan. You know, these guys get them on TV, get them out there with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
But like in 6 months, these are our tag team champions. Like they gotta be.
Absolutely.
Even sooner. You know what I mean? 4 months if you outlook that way. Like it just depends on what they do with Judgment Day.
That's a good segue. Let's talk about the 37 minutes of the opening of Monday Night Raw that was Judgment Day, and the encore that we got that was the Terror Twins promo right before the Howdy segment. Con, you can lead this in, but I want that Terror Twins promo because, dear God, oh my God. Okay, let's 37 minutes of Judgment Day at the start of the show. Go ahead.
So 37 minutes of Judgment Day and 37 minutes of me drafting my fantasy football team. I missed most of this. But I will say I was following along with the promos and hearing what I could when I wasn't rushed making my decisions. It sounded like it was just more so like almost a reintroduction of who the Judgment Day really are, what this group is all about. Give me your thoughts on this, because you obviously weren't drafting a fantasy football team.
Absolutely not. I was drafting, trying to figure out when Rhea Ripley was going to come and destroy Dominic Mysterio. First off, I'm not sure why the LWO has been introduced again, even though this match was fire. Like, that 8-man tag was one for the record books. And again, this just goes back to raw talent and incredible booking by Triple H. I didn't think we needed LWO anymore with Dominic Mysterio, but tonight worked. That's all I'm gonna say. Tonight worked.
Do you think it's because they continued to center around Dom and Ray?
No, I'm going the other way. I think it's because they're indirectly centering around Dom, Liv, and Rhea. Just remember, the main part of Rey Mysterio's promo was you had cojones when, well, at least one of you had cojones when you and Rhea were together, and it wasn't you, Dom.
Right.
That, it took away from the LWO Judgment Day feud to we're still focusing over here.
Makes sense. I get what you're throwing down.
You know what I mean? So, like, literally, we could see Dominic and Ray wrestle 300 times, and the first 3 times are the only ones that we care about, to be honest.
Yep.
But this whole segment, and I think this segment actually, when it came to the match, put over Joaquin and what's his name? Dragon Lee.
Yeah, Cruz del Toro.
Yeah, and Dragon Lee.
Yeah, like you're right. Like it. Well, this is like when they went down to NXT for a little bit and all of a sudden showed up and was like, oh, these guys can put on bangers.
Yeah.
Like if you give them time and you give them the story and the ability to work with each other, they can put on legitimate bangers. And breaking out that springboard, fly through the air thing, I don't even know what you call it, but like they could do that every time they're in the ring and it will never get old.
No.
It is one of those moves that is just so visually impressive. And it just never really been seen before, to jump that far outside of the ring, to be launched like that. It's very cool when he breaks it out. And this match itself, you know, it cooked. I can't get over, like I mentioned before, I can't get over that diving spot with all 4 of them. The way they hit the ropes at the time they did, and not a single person was offbeat.
No.
It's just, that's incredible.
And the camera angle, it goes back to production that we've talked about. You and I have talked about, I think we've like beat this to death, but this new production with the new camera angles and how they just deliver the show, that camera angle is probably one of the top angles of the year. And that's going across to AEW and All In. And I don't want to talk about All In tonight, but I'm just saying, like, that was one of the best visual spots I've seen all year. Hands down.
I have to agree with you. I have to. And there's nothing else to say about it
Yeah.
other than that. It was just awesome to watch. Lee Fitting and the production team are doing great work right now within WWE.
Absolutely.
I want to talk a little bit here about the promos that we saw tonight. They're two different promos, but from Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. Both long promos sent out there. Randy's, let's start there because we can talk more about Drew and Punk. But Randy Orton, this man is an absolute icon in the business, and I love this promo from him. It was him reminding for 7 minutes, going out there reminding everybody who the hell Randy Orton actually is and why he deserves this championship match. And like just hearing the respect from the crowd as well for Randy Orton chanting "You deserve it" at this man. Like he does it, listing all of the accolades: youngest world heavyweight champion, last person to hold on to the world heavyweight championship before it became unified with the WWE championship. And now he's going back again after that title that means so much to him. This added a ton to the feud, in my opinion.
I think this was the promo that solidified this feud, solidified Randy being a part of this feud. As much as everyone, I'm pretty sure 100 out of 100 will say that Gunther is going over at Bash in Berlin, but this was the promo that everyone sits there and been like, hold on a second. We're talking about Randy Orton here.
Yeah.
We're talking about the world title. And when he was speaking, I'm literally regretting my Bash in Berlin predictions that are going up tomorrow, where I'm like, you know what? This man might actually do it and piss off everyone in Germany and Austria. And here's the thing. I don't think everyone would be that mad if he did. It's Randy Orton, 19 years old when he signed his contract. What is he, 46 now? Something around there?
He's 46, 47, something like that. Yeah.
So he's over 30.
Oh, 44. He's not even that old.
Okay.
I thought he was older.
Okay.
He's 44.
But Con, 35 years in WWE.
That's insane.
Okay.
That's actually insane. 35
No, wait.
years.
My math is off.
Whatever it is.
25 years.
He was 20 years since he won the World Heavyweight Championship in 2004. So over 20 years in WWE.
Yeah.
Never left. Never seemed like he was going to go somewhere else. Ever. It wasn't ever like, oh, I'm going to hold out my contract, sit out until I get what I want. Randy Orton has been a WWE lifer. And in many ways, when you think, JBL used to say it, the prototypical wrestler, if you could build him from the ground up, would be Randy Orton.
Yes.
And that still stays true today. He is legitimately the guy. He is one of the few people in pro wrestling that when you say the word pro wrestling, you think of.
Yep.
You know, there's like a handful of people that come to mind. You think of Stone Cold, you think of Rock, you think of Hogan, you think of Cena, and you think of Randy in many ways. The RKO is iconic.
Yeah.
And yeah, he deserves it. And you're right. This is making us think, could Randy Orton actually capture the world title at Bash in Berlin?
Yeah, the only thing that I turn around and look at right now is I think Randy Orton at this point, where he is in his career, 5 years extended onto his contract. I'm sorry, Randy's got to pass Flair. I know that's Randy's got to pass Flair before Cena.
Say that again, sorry.
Randy has to pass Flair before Cena. I think it has to be Randy.
I mean, look, it's not going to be Cena.
I
don't think it is.
I think it has to be Randy. It just, for me, it makes more sense at this point.
If anybody's going to pass it, it is Randy.
Yeah.
And like John Cena doesn't need it, right? At this point, he doesn't need that extra accolade. He is 1 foot out the door already in WWE. Already moved into Hollywood. Randy Orton has been a guy, though, like I just said, a guy who has never faltered, a guy who's never left. Yeah, he's had his issues throughout the years in WWE. Yeah, he hasn't been perfect, but like, which wrestler is at the top from such a young age? Most of them fuck up along the way. Most of them mess up somehow. But like, Randy Orton is legitimately just a WWE lifer. And if there was anybody to give that accolade to, it'd be Randy Orton.
Exactly. I agree. So I still think it's Gunther. at Bash, but if it is Randy, I am probably going to mark out like a 5-year-old child because it's so well deserved, and that promo tonight solidified it. Showed why Randy is a legend. That like
we'll both be marking out.
He covered 7 minutes.
7
with no interruption, and everyone holding on to every word he said. So that just says what Randy Orton brings to Monday Night Raw, to WWE, and to the business. So, but
the cream of the crop. Let's talk about maybe another cream of the crop, the best in the world, if you will. Let's talk about CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Now, you saw it because I saw your reaction. I saw it. CM Punk was live on Instagram under the ring for Drew McIntyre's promo.
Dude, I don't think I have been that excited for a reaction to get posted because I thought out of all the reacting content creators, I thought I was the only one that caught it. I might have caught it the earliest, but like I'm watching the promo and I look at Drew's music hit, and you know there's a big delay. It's about a 1.5 minute delay television to live to television. And both my phones go off and I'm like, CM Punk's live. And I'm like, what?
Oh my God, you got the notifications. Like you were in there.
Oh, dude,
like,
I was
in there like with maybe, I want to say 2 and a bit minutes before he jumped out from under the ring.
Dude, I was in there with 200 people in the live.
That's wild.
Like, my chat can confirm. I was like, what the fuck? Punk's live?
I saw 8,000 when I joined. So you definitely got the jump on us there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, like, what a crazy, cool thing. Because, like, I'm sitting there watching the Instagram live. I'm sorry, Drew McIntyre. I blanked out on most of your promo because I'm watching the Punk thing. I'm, like, trying to listen to his and trying to find out where he's at in the promo and all that. And then he jumps out. I see the phone drop, and out he goes. You saw it as well happen live.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, phone's going down. When's this happening?
Yeah.
When is Punk coming out?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting his music to hit.
I didn't listen to a word Drew said, to be honest. And you know me, I'm a Drew McIntyre guy. I didn't listen to a thing Drew said. I enjoyed every second of CM Punk, and you know I'm more Drew than I am Punk. But I'll tell you right now, I enjoyed every second of CM Punk trolling the absolute shit out of Drew McIntyre tonight. And if this was a Triple H idea, amazing, do more of it, please. Please. We need stalking on IG. Like, we need, like, people following people during, like, promos and, like, just on their IG film. I need more of this. Utilize social media to a T. WWE Digital, do more. Let's go.
Yeah. Well said, Tesh. Well said. Make use of all your platforms you have. And you know what? They are. To their credit, they are. But what you're kind of throwing out there is that NXT Anonymous. Let's get something like that on the main roster.
Absolutely.
Let's have somebody who follows around backstage, and that's all they do. And just that would be such a great thing for the WWE Vault YouTube channel, or even their main YouTube channel. Certainly for Twitter and Instagram, and like, it would crush. People would be all over that as well.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk about the Miz Xavier Woods Pete Dunne match because this one caught me off guard. I was not expecting Pete Dunne to be the winner here. I was thinking they were going to go Xavier Woods, and it really caught me off guard, but I'm very happy. I am thrilled for Pete Dunne because he's incredible at everything he does. His run with the NXT UK Championship, where it was like 600 some odd days, showed he's one of the best in the world. And then he just kind of got forgotten about for a long time. You know, he was thrown in with the Brawling Brutes, renamed to Butch. That was never going to move him up the card. And now here he is, advancing to a Fatal 4-Way. Like, what do you think? He's going to be a great addition to that Fatal 4-Way. He's not winning, but, like, he's a great addition, right?
So I'm on the completely opposite side of things.
Okay.
Pete Dunne was winning this the whole way because Pete Dunne is getting, if you look at them side by side, Pete Dunne right now, storyline-wise, is getting booked exactly like Bronson Reed. It's all the same. They are pushing guys that have been forgotten about and underutilized, that are Triple H guys coming from NXT and need to get that push. Pete Dunne, like, if he won the Fatal 4-Way, I think it would be a huge disrespect to Jey Uso. But again, I could see it because of the work he's done. It's a controversial take. It's a hot take. I get it. But Pete Dunne and Bronson Reed are kind of on a similar trajectory right now. Bronson's a little higher just because he's big Bronson Reed and Jake TV is helping push him. But Pete Dunne has done an amazing, a bunch of accolades that we have forgotten about with him coming to the main roster with that whole Butch BS. Yeah. So Pete Dunne winning tonight, the turn for Xavier Woods will come probably in the next 2 weeks on Kofi.
Do you think they're actually going to go with the turn on Xavier? I'm wondering if they're going opposite. And I don't mean to cut you off there. I'm wondering if they're going to go with Odyssey Jones and Kofi being the bad guys.
No, Xavier is wearing black tonight.
I noticed that too.
No,
but like,
they even
this
referenced
is where my chat has been on me for years. Because every time, do you remember when the Judgment Day was recruiting people?
Yeah.
And every time there was purple in the background, I'm like, Judgment Day! Yeah. That's Judgment Day! They're joining Judgment Day! Yeah. So I've bought into the clothes a little bit too much throughout the years. So like, I feel like this is almost, and I might be really wrong, but like this is where my mind's going with this. They are directing our attention so much to Xavier Woods that we don't want to see Xavier be the bad guy in this scenario. Why would we want to root against Xavier Woods in all of this? Everything that has been told from Karrion Kross to Woods is correct. The way Kofi has been treating him isn't necessarily the best. Now, I get this is how you make heels be justified in their turns and all of that, but like with what they're saying, I do wonder if they're gonna just drive this wedge even more. Maybe it's Kofi and Odyssey Jones that are the evil ones in this scenario. Heel Kofi would be interesting.
I would love it. I would love that take and I would love that storyline build, but I'm sorry, but Odyssey Jones literally reminds me of Willow Nightingale when he comes out right now. So he is so uber face. It would take so long to turn him heel. It's just, for me, it's just too much Xavier Woods. And like, even when they reference it today, it's like, oh, you didn't match like we were supposed to, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you know, I thought I would have him change up the gear a little bit. And like, you know, the tribute to Sid, like I love how they utilize that, but like with the black. So I like what they did there, but there's more to that. So I like your take, but it would take so long to have that turn happen. Hey, let me put this out here. This may also be a long turn for Xavier. We may be looking ahead. Like, if you think back, I think I mentioned this last week on Monday Night Raw Review, the way that they built the Judgment Day, right? And Finn Balor turning on Priest, how Priest did something where he screwed up Finn Balor's opportunity a year before that. SummerSlam cash-in,
Yeah, exactly. And that ended up, sorry, there's a stupid fruit flying here. My God. Stupid season. But the way that they built that for a whole year. Yeah. They could be doing that here with the New Day.
Of course they could.
This could be a long play as opposed to a very short play. When we talk about long-term booking in WWE, this would be the way to do it because it doesn't immediately impact either the mid-card or the main event scene. So it's something to build up over the next year. So I'm going to lean towards that. I think it is a long burn story here.
We will see what happens. Honestly, I don't care who turns, but it's 10 years in the making at this point. I don't see us getting Big E back anytime soon, so it's just got to be a turn. It's got to be I think it's a Mania feud personally. I think the culmination of the end of the New Day is like a Mania night one mid-card match, which is deserving.
I can get behind that. I would think that would do the New Day justice. You know, how long do we have, or how often do we see these types of factions that last this long, right?
Exactly.
Not very often.
Not even the Shield lasted 10 years.
No, but you know who is lasting in WWE? The female Shield, the Pure Fusion Collective right now. New theme song, new graphics, and an L. Look, I'm going to say it right now. I don't mind the grouping of the three, okay? It's just a name at the end of the day. It's just a name. The PFC, don't love it. It is what it is. But I like Damage Control in this matchup. I like that I could get behind them in this thing. I think Kyrie and Io are enjoyable to watch as baby faces. Their moveset works really well. I'm just not, I didn't care enough. You know, I didn't care enough yet of the PFC to get me to that point. I enjoyed the matchup if you just look at it, but like, I don't know. I felt a little weird about this. What were your thoughts on this matchup?
I want to throw this out there. Like, I hate the name. I hate the name, but I think the three together are perfect.
Yes.
Like, three dominant, badass, great in ring. Like, nobody gives Sonya enough credit in ring. Nobody gives Zoe enough credit in ring, and nobody gives Shayna enough credit in ring. Okay, these three together could actually be what are they called from NXT? Mandy Rose ran it.
Toxic Attraction.
They could be the main roster version of Toxic Attraction because they were dominant and they were vicious, and these women are. But the name is killing people. Like, I was watching Twitter when they came out, and it was just, they were roasting them again. I think even Corey Graves said something, being like something about the name, and he just went to PFC or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't have a new faction and have them lose this many times. That's the first thing. That's what they're losing with Karrion Kross's faction.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
Like, nobody cares. Like, Karrion Kross.
But let me also say this. What you said, that this could be like the Toxic Attraction group. Yes, it could be. But sometimes groups are made for a reason, just to be in the middle of the card, right? Sometimes groups are made just to be that group to put other people over. When you look at what they're trying to do with Damage Control right now, Damage Control needed foes.
Thank you.
And that's why they did this, in my opinion.
Thank you for going this direction, because my next question about this match was Damage Control is -1 right now. They are missing Dakota.
Yep.
We have also lost the nightclub girls. What are they called? Kaden and Katana.
Yeah, the life of the party. Yeah. They're out with injury? Yeah, Caden's hurt, right?
Is this not an opportunity to bring in Lyra Valkyria into Damage Control somehow?
Oh, God, I think it's perfect opportunity. If they want to bring her in there, she would fit in with that group so well.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
They have really butchered Lyra coming onto the main roster. And I hate to say this because a lot of people like are not a fan of Damage Control. Putting Lyra into Damage Control would bring that group back to life and actually give three women a huge, like that 3-women trio style, like 6-woman tag match, actual life.
Absolutely. I'm so behind that. I do want to just clarify one thing there. I think they brought in Lyra in a great way. They didn't follow up after Queen of the Ring.
True.
In a great way.
Yeah.
Lyra was pushed beautifully during that entire tournament, and it almost feels like when she got put with the life of the party, it was something to do on TV, but it wasn't like you're the focus.
Yeah.
This bringing her into Damage Control to go up against the Pure Fusion Collective is a great idea, man. I love every bit of that, especially you laid it all out there. Asuka isn't there, Dakota Kai isn't there, and the life of the party isn't there. This is the natural direction for Lyra to go, and it doesn't have to be a permanent thing. She doesn't have to like permanently join Damage Control if that's not the long-term direction. It would be cool if she did. I think it would be great for her. But like even just tagging alongside of Io and Kyrie will help elevate her stock so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've missed, in my mind, we've missed one thing. Have we, are we missing something else? Because I want to really jump into the Terror Twins.
Jump into the Terror Twins. I don't think we're missing really anything else.
Dude, what a promo.
Yeah.
What I will say, I think Damian Priest, next to Drew and CM Punk, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley are the top 2 people on Monday Night Raw. It's not even close.
I agree, man. How could you argue anybody else is at that level?
I could not speak almost during that promo because it was like the Razor Ramon reference, Rhea speaking in Spanish and delivering it perfectly. Priest just being this overall. Priest has elevated his stock in the last 12 months.
Oh my God, so much.
To a point that, like, we need to actually start looking at Priest as a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. That's a shout.
No, don't be sorry. No, don't be sorry. Absolutely. He has been, like, if you take a look at the Judgment Day, even the Judgment Day as a group belongs in the Hall of Fame someday.
Yeah.
They have carried Monday Night Raw for so long, but part of the reason they carried it for so long is because of Damian Priest.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were not high on Priest when he won Money in the Bank. A lot of people thought he would fail to cash in.
Yep.
A lot of people thought that there's zero chance that he could become world champion, right? He's just an upper mid-card guy. He's not going to successfully cash this thing in, but they did the right thing. They slowly booked him over a year. And then they gave him that world title run in not just a month, not just 2 months, but a couple of months in a row before dropping the title when he needed to, and then continuing to follow up that title with a legitimate feud between him and a fallen brother in Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Everything that they've done with Damian Priest is perfect booking, and it's the reason why he's a main eventer now, and he'll never fall down the card again, in my opinion.
No, never. Like,
he's that guy.
Again, dude, like, I sit here and I was hyping this up, and this is something I haven't talked to you about, but I think after Bash in Berlin, Dominic and Liv, I think, are going to go over personally.
Yep.
But after Bad Blood, when this feud's over, Priest and Rhea need to go for the tag titles.
Jeez. Oh, that could work.
Con.
That could work.
Think about this. Look how she dropped JD tonight.
Yep.
And nobody in their right mind are going to argue that Rhea Ripley can't go with some of the best men in the business.
Yeah. So my one, and I'm not saying this is an issue, I would say it would be a concern for creative, is making sure that they don't then start booking it like a guy, like when a guy wrestles a girl, there's a certain way they book those matches. They would need to go in booking them like it's literally just a one-on, like a true tag match, and don't differ at all. Like if they go fully into it and don't hold up on Rhea at all, and she's built up like a legitimate badass like she is in the ring, and then it could work. If they start pulling a little bit away from the tag matches, saying, oh, well, you're not going to go as hard or as heavy with Rhea in the ring because we don't want that visual, right, of a man,
of course,
attacking a girl, right? And which is totally fair.
Yep.
Totally a fair thing. But if they decide to go this direction, they need to make it as hard hitting as possible.
Listen, China did it with Eddie. China did it with a lot of dudes. Beth Phoenix, in that really uncomfortable stage of when people really dropped off of pro wrestling, Beth Phoenix really showed up and wrestled some pretty intense dudes. Like, pretty sure she went up against Hardcore Holly in one match. So, like, or Mr. Kennedy for sure, I know that. But Rhea can go. Like, I'm not going to say put Rhea against Bronson Reed, but...
Hey, you know what, though? Jesus, a Riptide on Bronson would be incredible.
But a Riptide on Finn, an ex-world champion. A Riptide on Dom, a Riptide on...
The moment that needs to happen, okay, that does need to happen. Dom, what they could do, and I know we're starting to spitball here towards the end. This is in the ramble part of the podcast, but going into Bad Blood, let's say, they need to add some heat, some more heat to Rhea versus Liv if that's going to be a match at Bad Blood. Geez, there you go. Like, if you're going to do Finn versus Damian and you're doing Rhea versus Liv, Dom needs to be involved somehow. Have Rhea take out Dom for a couple of weeks, and Liv doesn't have Dom at her side for that match against Rhea. I like, there you go. That's how you get that back.
I love it. I love it. But at the end of the day, like, I still stand by this. I think there needs to be one opportunity at the tag titles for the Terror Twins.
That'd be so cool.
They're putting them together as a tag team. Like, they're booking them as a tag team right now. Why not? What could go wrong? Honestly, it's just gonna bring more like fire to those two as baby faces. like badass baby faces, and it's gonna bring more heat to Dom and the rest of Judgment Day, the Timu version of Judgment Day that we have going on. But no, I think there's a massive opportunity if WWE's listen to this or somebody puts this across, but I think there's a huge opportunity to this. But dude, what a episode of Monday Night Raw.
What an episode is right.
Holy
what
hell.
an episode. You guys should make sure you drop a like on this video on your way out. You should make sure you subscribe here to both the Con Man, Mr. Tesh, and Straight Shoot YouTube channels. We do this after every single Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. Tesh, brother, you had a 9 out of 10 for Monday Night Raw, correct?
Yes, sir.
I have a 9 out of 10 as well. Let us know your ratings in the comments below. And everybody who watched us live, thank you so very much for hanging out for the last 51 minutes. Oh my goodness.
51.
We really went in.
We dug in on this one, but guys, thank you so much. And like Con said, we are doing this every night or every Monday Night Raw and every SmackDown, and we love seeing you guys in the chat. Don't forget to comment. Should Priest and Rhea go for the tag titles? Guys, thank you so much, and like always, be good people. Whew.
All right, brother. All right.